Ja, dafür.
Ah, dafür, okay. Hallo, 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 guten Tag. Guten Tag, yeah, we say guten Tag. Fantastisch. Guten Tag. Sehr gut. Fantastisch. Guten Tag. Guten Tag. Ah, wunderbar. Hier, guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Ja, sehr gut. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Wunderbar. Guten Tag. Ja, guten Tag. Guten Tag. Guten Tag. Hallo, hallo, guten Tag. Okay, today we have a sample lesson for German. So if you have learned German before, it might be too easy for you. But if you're a total beginner, then you benefit from it. Okay, let's just, before we go to the PowerPoint, let's have a look at this handout. You all have the handout? So as you see, we cannot do too much today because we also have the PowerPoint. We will do the greetings first. Let's do the greetings here. In the middle here. Let's read together. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen means good morning. Guten Morgen. Yeah, so that is how we also do it in the class. I always say something and you have to repeat. Guten Morgen. Fantastic. So every morning we say Guten Morgen. And then during the whole day you can say Guten Tag. Guten Tag. Yeah, at the end we hear a little K. Guten Tag. Fantastic, sehr gut. And then in the evening we say Guten Abend. And we hear a little T at the end again. Guten Abend. Yeah, typical for Hong Kong students, they say something like Guten Tag. Nothing comes out, but for us, always a nice consonant at the end. Guten Tag. Guten Abend. Sehr gut, fantastisch. Okay, let's read greetings one more time. Guten Morgen. Guten Tag. Guten Abend. Yeah. And then students always ask, how do you say good afternoon? I could say it, but we never say it. So this is one of the things students look up in the dictionary, how to say good afternoon. Of course you find it, how you can say it, but Germans don't say it. We have these three greetings, that's enough for us. Okay? Good. Now, for thank you, we say danke. Danke. Or we can, for thank you very much, vielen Dank. Yeah, you see the V is pronounced like an F. Vielen Dank. Okay, fantastic. So let's read the whole line one more time, just for a pronunciation exercise, so we can pronounce a little bit. Guten Morgen. Guten Tag. Guten Abend. Yeah, when you see me, I say Guten Abend. The paper moves, right? So there is a plosive sound at the end. Guten Abend. Fantastic. With children, you put a candle there. But we are adults. Paper must be enough. Okay, danke. Vielen Dank. Okay, fantastic. Now let's have a look at the consonants here, and we read the first line together. Ah. Yeah, ah is always ah. It can never be a, it can never be a. The vowels are always pronounced the same, right? In German, not like in English. So the first one is ah. Cannot change. The next one is e. It's always e. Cannot be a, cannot be e or anything else. It's always e. And the third one is e. It is always e. It cannot be I or anything else. The vowels are always pronounced the same. Okay, let's do the first three. A, E, E. Yeah, fantastic. And the last two, O. Again, O is always O. It cannot be O or anything else, right? Not like in English. O.
Oh.
And then we have oo. Oo is always oo, can never be you or anything else, right? Okay. The last two were o, and oo. Okay, let's do the first line together. A, e, o, oo. Fantastic. Problem? So far, problem? No problem, huh? Das ist sehr gut. Okay, now we see here we have a second line with the two dots on some vowels. Let's do the contrast. A. So when we put the two dots there, the mouth opens, right? Okay, there is nothing like this for A and E, but we come to O. So for the mouth gets a little bit rounder, the lips go out a little bit, the mouth is rounder. And the last one, even more extreme than with the O, Now you feel maybe a little tension here, right? Okay, so these are the German vowels. Since the consonants are more or less the same everywhere, so with knowing the vowels, we basically can read German already. Basically, of course, there is always some problem. Let's do one more time. A, E, O, U, Okay, fantastic. Okay, let's have a look at the PowerPoint, learn something about Germany. Okay, so these are about our classes. Later on, Wallace will tell you about our system here. We look at it later, right? So CF and everything, all these interesting things. How to save money. So let's read together. Europa. When we look at Europa, what do we see? We see Europa is flat in the north. It is hilly in the middle, and there is a big mountain range here. These are the Alps, right? Okay, so that is all of Europe, and Germany is in the middle. This is Denmark. So Germany is below Denmark, south of Denmark, about this area here. So in Germany, we have the same geography as all over Europe. The north is flat, and the middle is a little bit hilly, and then the southern border is this high mountain range. When we look at this mountain range, it's from east to west, right? It's different when we compare to America, to the Americas. In America, the big mountains are from north to south. The consequence is that in America, the climate is different, because if the cold air from the North Pole can shoot down in a few days from the North Pole directly, let's say, to New York. New York is about the latitude of Rome, right? In Rome, this could never happen, that people die of the cold, but in New York can happen. It can happen because they don't have this barrier for the cold air. So important for Germany is that we have this barrier here, so the cold air comes from the North Pole, is more or less stopped here. The hot air comes from Africa and is more or less stopped here. That is why Northern Europe, Eastern Europe also, but we are talking about Germany, Northern Europe has a different climate from Southern Europe. Consequence is, for Germans, before, let's say, traditional Germans, we would not have oranges, lemons, all these things, we don't have it. We have potatoes, cabbage, apples, things like this, but not all the variety of Mediterranean food. We just don't have it. So, of course, nowadays you can buy everything, but in the old days we could not. Also, when we look at history, we see here the Roman Empire from Italy, starting here from Rome, conquered everything here, the whole coast, but to conquer Northern Europe was more difficult for them, because you cannot cross the Alps so easily, right? So the Romans, when they wanted to conquer this area, Germany, they had to go all the way around here, come from the side, what is now France, go here, and then they go to Germany. So when the Romans finally came to us, of course, then we also got some culture. We got wine, we got different food. Before we only had here. We got libraries, we got cities. Before we only had little villages. So, but relatively later, because took some time to go there, right? Okay, so that is just Europe as a whole. Let's go to the next page here. So this is Germany again. We see the Alps. We see the Alps in the south. Oh, it just does not show on the PowerPoint when I move this here. Does it show here? Yes. Okay, so the Alps in the south, the hilly area further up, and then in the north we have two coasts. One on the left-hand side is the Northern Sea, and on the right-hand side is the Baltic Sea. Right-hand side means east of Denmark. Okay, let's go to the next one here, and we talk about, let's repeat this, Deutsch. So the language we are learning here in our class is Deutsch.
Deutsch.
It's not called German and it's not called Dutch. Deutsch.
Deutsch.
Dutch is the language spoken in the Netherlands only, right? Okay, now let's read the countries in which German language is spoken. Deutschland.
Deutschland.
Österreich. Schweiz. Yeah, first we have the SCH. And then we have the German W is pronounced like a V. Schweiz. Schweiz, sehr gut. And then Liechtenstein. And where they speak a German dialect is Luxembourg. Luxembourg. Huh? And then German is also a minority language in some areas in Eastern Europe. For instance, in Hungary or in Romania, Germany is spoken as a minority language. A couple of years ago, the Nobel Prize winner for literature was a German writer, what was her name? Herta Müller from Romania. She comes from Romania in a village, isolated. Everybody outside speaks Romanian, but in this village they speak German. Why is that? Because about 300 years ago, these kingdoms at the time, they advertised to German farmers, come to Romania, the king of Romania, he will give you land. You don't have to do military service, you don't have to pay taxes, your sons don't have to pay taxes. So lots of stuff he promised, and then of course people who thought they get a better future, they went to these areas, and they lived there hundreds of years until the Iron Curtain fell in 1989, and then many of them, they came to Germany. The German they speak is a little bit not the standard German. They spoke at the time some dialect, right? 200, 300-year-old dialect. Okay, so these are the main countries in which German is official language, and then otherwise German is minority language in some of the European, of the Eastern European countries, and of course in Belgium and in Denmark also. Okay. Let's go to the next one here, and we look at the special situation in Switzerland first. Up here on the right-hand side, we see Switzerland. Switzerland is an interesting country, a nice country, and they speak 3 languages. They speak German, it's the larger part. They speak French, it's green here on the map, is the smaller part. And then the smallest language in Switzerland is Italian. Italian students. Let's say you're a German-Swiss person and a citizen there. In school, you learn English plus French plus Italian. If you're an Italian speaker from your family in Switzerland, you have to learn English, of course, plus French plus German. So they always learn the 2 other languages. in theory. Of course, students are also lazy, not everybody learns everything, but in theory they know a lot of languages. They're very smart people and quite open and nice people too. And then there's a little language, we see the dark purple here. This language is unique to Switzerland, it's not spoken anywhere else. It's a little bit related to Italian, and Swiss people are very proud of it, that they have such a special language. Usually you will be only confronted with this language when you take Swiss Air and you land in Zurich, and then they have in all kinds of languages, they say, welcome to Switzerland, and one of the lines, you think that looks a little bit strange, and this is this extra language, the name is Rätoromanisch. Romanisch means some kind of a Roman root of this language. So before, people believed this language would die out because it was only spoken in the mountain in some villages, but you can never predict the future. In the past, let's say in the past 80 years maybe, Swiss people took more and more pride in this language. You can learn it in school. People have clubs, people even chat in this language, which was not written so much before, and they see it as part of their cultural heritage. Very interesting, because usually the small languages, people don't see a future, the parents don't teach it to their children, and these languages die. Different in this situation here. Okay, let's have a look at Germany and its neighbors. Germany, the big part, the yellow part in the middle. So we have all the way around, we have lots of neighbors, just like China. We have Denmark, Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, Switzerland, of course France, one of the big neighbors, and then Luxembourg, Belgium, the Netherlands, and in the north we have Denmark. Now, altogether, if I counted right, 9 neighbors. 9 neighbors means, of course, lots of conflict also with neighbors sometimes, but fortunately not in the recent past. Okay, let's go to the next one here. We revise the vowels one more time. A, E, I, O, U, and we do the contrast to the vowels with the 2 dots. A, E, I, O, U, and I forgot the ones with the dots. O, Ö, U, Ü. Okay, so we have one more special letter, which is a consonant. You see it in Fußball. It looks a little bit like the Greek beta language, beta letter. Let's read together. Fußball. Fußball. So there's some orthographic rule when you have to write this kind of S letter. And the last one here is Spaß. Spaß means fun. No? Spaß means fun. Okay. We have 3 extra vowels and 1 extra consonant, which the consonant is not so important. So some people don't use it at all. For instance, Swiss people themselves, they normally write double S for this one. They just don't like to use it. Okay, now let's do the greetings one more time. Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Yeah, we always take care for the ending. Let's do one more time. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Little K sound at the end. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Sehr gut. This little K at the end here, or the T at the end, this is what the German accent is. When you hear German people speak English, or for that matter Russian people the same, then at the end you hear something that sounds harsh to other speakers. And that, or let's say American movie from the Cold War area, the evil Russian guy, the evil German guy, they always have a strong accent like this. So that if you copy the evil guy in the movie, then your German sounds right. So always a little T at the end or a little K at the end. Okay, then, danke.
Danke.
Vielen Dank.
Vielen Dank.
Yeah, wunderbar. So here we just have the greeting. So normally in German, as everybody knows, we shake hands. But some people do like our Southern European neighbors do, like especially women, they kiss each other on the cheek. That is what the French people do, so Germans copy this. And in Austria, they have the habit, elderly guys like to kiss the hand of the lady. Young ladies don't like it, but elderly ladies like it. So they find it very charming. So I myself, I would never do this, because for me it's just a creepy old-fashioned habit. Okay, now let's have a look at the next part. Let's read the headline, Geografie. Geografie. Geography. You see, it's very similar. These words are similar to English, easy to learn. So we see the Germany again. We see the flat area in the north, the hilly area in the middle, and then we see the Alps, the brown range in the south, the border of Germany there. And we will go here through all these areas, have a look at all these areas so that we know a little bit more about how Germany looks. And we start with the Northern Sea. The Northern Sea is the sea between Denmark and England. Okay, let's read together. Nordsee.
Nordsee.
Nordsee. So what we see here is Nordsee. Nordsee. And when we look at Nordsee, we see the windmill, and we see the fishing boats, and we see a certain style of house. So basically, these pictures could also be from the Netherlands, or they could be from Belgium, from the coast, right? Because basically that is one culture. In the old days, before there were national states, the whole coast there, that was one culture that with a certain dialect. The dialect is different from German, different from French, but these people basically do the same. They have the wind, so they have a windmill, they have the fish, so they have fisher boats, right? Nowadays, the fishing with these little boats is not going so well anymore. So most of them, with these little boats, they do tourism or specialty fishing for expensive restaurants. We look at this part here, the green part here, we see this thing here is artificial. It is called Deich. Deich, let's go to the next thing. Deich. Yeah, the English term is dike. So all along the German northern sea coast, there is the Deich. It's an artificial structure to keep the water out. Right, so it is just like in China along the Yellow River, just to keep the water where it should be and not flooding the land. So there is this Deich. The masters in Europe for building these dikes are the Dutch people, because large part of the Netherlands is below sea level. So if they would not have the Deich, their country would be flooded. So since they are the specialists, so starting from the ancient days, the Germans, they asked specialists from the Netherlands to come and help to build the dikes, because they had the technology for centuries already. Germans at the beginning, we did not have this technology. The ancient Germans, they didn't build a dike. They had little artificial mountains on which they built their hut. So in case of flood, the village would be a little bit elevated and could not be flooded. So that was the low technology level of the Germans, but the Dutch people, they knew how to build the dikes very early on. So when Germany was a state or a number of states later, we could invite them and they would help. Okay, let's go to the next part and have a look at the Deich. The Deich looks like this. It's not very high, but high enough. When you go there, you can rent a bicycle, or you bring your own bicycle and you You have bicycle tours or you go hiking. On the, when we look at the picture, on the left-hand side is the sea, on the right-hand side is the land. On the land, normally you see the typical black and white cows, which are typical for this area because it's an area famous for milk production, milk and pork. Milk and pork, that's basically what they produce here. When we look at this picture here, the different parts of a dike, this particular one, the oldest part in the middle, right here, 1600, so it's very old. And the problem is, the most important part is the center, and that is the oldest and the worst, because the technology at the time when they started building it was not very advanced. So it's the same in all countries, also in China along the big rivers. The oldest part of the dike, the center, the core, is vulnerable. So it can happen that the dike breaks. The last big catastrophe in Germany with a broken dike was in 1962, when the water even went all the way inland to Hamburg. Many people perished. Ever since, the technology is better and the dikes have been stabilized with concrete and ramming in, something like what they do in Hong Kong, the piling. They put piling in so it cannot happen again. But without the dike, everything would be flooded, not so much in Germany, but especially in the Netherlands. Okay, so what do you see here? Not much to see. You have a simple holiday, you go there, you have a bike tour, you go to the pedestrian area, eat coffee and cake, and then you can take the train or go to a hotel for another day, and then you go home. So this was our look at the Northern Sea. The Northern Sea in Germany, that is typical with the dike, right? We go to the eastern side of Denmark and we look at the Baltic Sea now. So where are we? So we looked at this part here. And now we go here to the eastern side of Denmark, we look at this part here. The situation is totally different there because the coast is not flat. The coast is higher up, so the water cannot come into the land. There is no need to build a dike. Let's read together. Ostsee. 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 Ost means east, right? Ostsee. Ostsee. So the beach is different, it's more sandy. And on the beach you see these structures. It's made of something like rattan. People rent this for one day. You can rent it for the whole week. You can rent it for the weekend. Of course, you always have to pay. Somebody earns money. And then you rent it, and all you do is you go there and you sit in it. You sit in it and stare at the water, wait for your lunch. When it's lunchtime, you lock your stuff there. Of course, you would not leave your expensive camera or credit card, just your towel and things like this. You lock it there, and then you go downtown, you eat something, then you come back, and then you sit there again. So ideal for lazy people. Ideal for lazy people. Why? And then what they always do, Hong Kong people would not do it, but Northern Europeans do it. When the sun moves, they also move the thing because they want to get as much sun as possible. Their dream is to be tanned in the face. They don't want to be pale. Whereas every Hong Kong person, even if it's only the credit card, they can have they're hiding from the sun. But the typical German, he wants to get tanned in the face. I wish I could get tanned. I only get pink. No tanning for me. So when did this habit start? When we look at this old photo here, this old photo is from the end of the 19th century. So 19th century is, maybe it was 1890, 1885. That is when the habit started for Germans to have their leisure time outside in nature at the sea. Before this period, nobody would ever go to the seaside. Nobody. Because the seaside is smelly, is sunny, is sandy, is not what people would want to have. But then the habit changed, people want to do some exercise, some sports, want to get a little bit more tan, want to be sporty, and so then they had the habit to go to the seaside for the first time. And of course, at the same time, the railroad system was developing, and for the first time, you could have a day trip to the coast. Before you could not. Before you could only walk or have a coach. Now it was possible to go from Hamburg in a few hours, go there, have a walk at the seaside, and then go back. Before it was not possible. Before this period, only poor people they would collect shells, they would collect firewood, but anybody who would not have to go would not go. It was regarded as dangerous to go to the seaside. Dangerous and filthy, because it smells somehow of dead fish and things like this. People were just disgusted. It was only something for poor people. Okay, so what else can you do there? There are nice cities to visit. For instance, here, Lübeck, where some famous sweet comes from. And with this, we are already finished with the northern part, with the two coasts we have, and we come to the middle part of Germany, the hilly area. Let's read one more time. Ostsee. Ostsee. Fantastic. Sehr gut. The next part is the middle part there. It is called Mittelgebirge. Mittelgebirge. Middle mountains. Gebirge is like a mountain range. Okay, so what do we see here? We see a river. The rivers, normally there they go like this. They meander, because in millions of years they cut their way through the mountains. That is why the landscape is how it is. On the side of the river, what do we see? We see castles. Many of them are ruins, but some castles you can visit. So you can have a boat trip there, visit a castle, eat something on the ship. And then another thing we see on the side here, this picture in the middle, grapes. These are the grapes. As we mentioned before, we only have grapes from the Romans. Before we didn't have grapes. So since the Romans were in this area, we learned how to make wine. Before, only beer. And the grapes in Australia, in California, in where else? In Chile, South America. You just put the plants there, and the wine will grow. Germany is a cooler country. You cannot just put the plants there and get good wine. It is desirable to have this particular landscape with them up the mountain, so the sun is more collected there on the mountains. The mountains consist of a certain kind of rock. The rock is similar to slate, where in old times the writing boards with. And during the day, the warmth goes into the rock, and during the night it is radiating from the back, from the rock to the backside of the grape. This way the grapes get enough warmth and can develop enough sugar. Otherwise the wine would be sour, would not be good wine. Another typical thing we see here is these houses. Many people find it typical for Germany to have this kind of house, but of course in other countries they have similar kind of houses. On the next slide we look at one of these houses, and we read together, Fachwerkhaus. Fachwerkhaus. Fachwerk is this kind of structure, the brown structure. In English you call it half-timbered house. Timber is a log of wood. How do you make a house like this? First you build the wooden structure, and then you have a mixture of clay and straw. You put the straw cut the straw, mix it with the clay, mix it with water, and then you step on it. The whole village or all the relatives would help to mix it, and then you put it into the structure, into the open parts of the structure, and press it from both sides and let it dry. And then, of course, then you paint it somehow, and then you have a nice house. Why would people do this? Are they crazy to do this? In the US, nobody would do it. Canada, nobody does it. But in Germany, we do it. In England, they do it. In northern France, they do it. Why? Because the wood is expensive. The clay is cheap, the straw is cheap, but the wood is very expensive. Why? There is not so much wood. Because over the centuries, lots of the forests were cut down, and there is just not as much wood as they have, for instance, in Canada. So the only way to do it is to replace the wood with this clay and straw mix. The fire insurance for a house like this is not more expensive than the fire insurance for a stone house, so it's pretty safe in there. A distant relative of my grandmother, she lived, that is why I picked the picture here. My grandmother lived in this city, where this is the town hall here. And a distant relative lived not in a fancy house like this, more in an old house, looks more like this one here. It's just like a normal house. The only thing, when you go from one room to the next, you always, as an adult, as a child not, but the adults always have to go like this, because the doors are lower, the whole ceiling is lower, because the house is 500 years old, and the people were much shorter then. People were shorter. You see this in every museum, even in Hong Kong. In the tram, you see this. Everything is a little bit lower, because people are just every decade people are taller. Nobody knows why, whether it's nutrition or genetics or combination of both, but that's the way it is. When we look at this house here on the right-hand side, the left-hand house would look the same as the right-hand house. This less fancy half-timbered house, less fancy Fachwerkhaus. After the war, people would not want to live in a Fachwerkhaus, so they cover everything so to make it look like a normal house. It was not fashionable, but nowadays, let's say younger people buy a house like this, first thing, they restore it and make it look what they think nowadays. It looks beautiful, like an old house, but after the war, people would not find it beautiful. They would find it old-fashioned. So they cover everything and paint it and pretend to live in a stone house. Nowadays, different attitude. Okay, so this was the Middle Mountains. So we talked a little bit about the wine. We talked about the half-timbered house. And let's go to the next. We come to the area before the Alps. The area before the Alps is higher up, but in itself is flat. It's a plateau. So it is in German Alpenvorland. Alpenvorland. So the pre-Alps. So Alpen is the Alps. Vor means before, and Land, of course, is land. So when we look at this, let's say drive there, you see the agriculture. The yellow stuff is an oil-producing plant. In the background, you should see the Alps. When I was a kid, the Alps would always have a white top. Nowadays, with global warming, the white top is gone. Maybe it comes back one day. So you see the global warming there. So the glaciers are melting, and the snow doesn't last very long, which has, of course, also economic effects on tourism, like the people who live off people coming there for skiing. They don't earn the money anymore that they plan to earn. Otherwise, you go there, it's very nice. You have the nice cities and villages. The biggest building in the old days in the village was always the church. And in the whole area, the churches on the countryside, they have this kind of shape of the tower. It's always like this. We call this onion tower, because it's onion shaped. It's similar to what you find in Eastern Europe or in Russia, but has nothing to do with religion. It's just architectural taste. It's just a tradition to build it like this. Okay, so this is the Alpenvorland, and then in the Alpenvorland and in the Alps there are some castles which are famous for tourism, and we read together Neuschwanstein. Neuschwanstein. So this is a tourism magnet for tourists for all over the world. They come to look at these castles here. The castles were built by a king, König Ludwig. König Ludwig. There was a restaurant chain in Hong Kong termed Restaurant König Ludwig. So he was kind of a strange person. He wasted all the money for these castles. He spent all his money on a German composer, Richard Wagner, whom he liked very much, and otherwise he wasted all the taxpayers' money for these castles. Nowadays, of course, we have different perspective. Maybe the money is not wasted because it attracts so many tourists. But at the time, he was popular, but he was not only popular. Many people criticized him. And he committed, it's never really known, was he murdered or did he commit suicide? Anyway, they found him drowned where the cross is there in the water of a lake. Okay, we have covered the middle area, we have covered the Alpenvorland, we have talked about König Ludwig, we come to the end of the geography part, and we have a look at the Alpen. Let's read together, Alpen. Alpen. When we look at the Alpen, what can you do there? If you don't like climbing, you can just go for hiking. For instance, I don't climb. I like to hike. You bring your own picnic, bring something to drink, bring sandwiches, and then you can just hike there forever. It's very relaxing to hike there. There's also restaurants. Some of them are more pricey than others. You can also go to the restaurant, of course. Winter sports, as we mentioned before, winter sports is declining. So the people who invested the money in the lifts, they try to invest the money in other stuff now. I don't know, fun park or something like this. So you cannot earn much money with winter sports because the winter sports season is shorter, and they put artificial snow, which is of course costly, environmentally not very friendly, use lots of energy with these big machines which throw the snow there. Okay, let's do, before we continue here, let's do a little bit of a conversation and then we continue and look at some more pictures. Let's have a look at the handout here. We want to do a short conversation together with our neighbor. So it's good when you don't sit alone. Maybe you sit together with somebody else. Maybe you can come here so you can talk to someone. Okay, talk to someone just like in the class. Because we cannot always learn from the book or from reading. We have to talk and practice. Okay, so let's read first together. Guten Morgen. And another greeting, do you remember? Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Okay, and then we can also say Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Okay, and then you introduce yourself. You say, Mein Name ist. And for the ist, we take care that we hear the T at the end. Mein Name ist. And then when we practice, you use your real name. And then the other person replies, Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Mein Name ist.
Mein Name ist.
The first name, can you read it? When you think the E is always E, we cannot say Peter, we say Peter. Huh? My name is Peter, and the second name would be my name is Simone. My name is Simone. And then he says, hello Simone.
Hello, Simone.
And then he says, hier ist meine Karte.
Here is my card.
Meine Karte. What could it mean? Here's my card. Here's my name card. Here's my name card. And then he takes his card and he goes like this. And the other person goes like this, grabs the card and puts it in here. Yeah. Whereas sometimes with other Germans in Hong Kong, then we exchange cards, then we say, we have the joke, oh, should we do it the Chinese way? Oh yeah, and then we take the card with both hands, give it to the other partner, and then we study it for 1 hour as if we have to proofread it, and then treat it as a treasure, and be very careful with the card. So in Germany and in Europe, we don't have this habit to give to hand over something with both hands. It's just not our habit. We don't do it, right? We're not impolite. We just don't have this habit with the two hands. So we just give it like this, and it's not the most important thing for us. And I would feel silly to look at the card for too long, because on the card is the name, and then the more important or fancy they are, the more letters are behind. Should I ask what will these letters mean? I don't, of course. So just different habits. So okay, so the other person says, Danke. Hier ist meine. Here is mine. My what? Of course, my name card, right? So we have of course, we have a word for name card. But in this, we like to shorten things, right? I do not say, hier ist meine Visitenkarte. I just say, hier ist meine Karte. The other person knows it is the name card. It's not the credit card, not the student card, not any other card. So we just say Karte. Okay, hier ist meine. Hier ist meine. And then we can say, vielen Dank. And you're such good students. You remember the V is pronounced like an F. Vielen Dank.
Vielen Dank.
Or we just say Danke. But it's more polite to say vielen Dank.
Vielen Dank.
Okay, we practice a little bit 2 and 2. I always say Sie und Sie. That means you and you. Sie und Sie. You have to practice now. Das Leben ist hart. Life is hard. Okay, can you move a little bit towards each other? Und dann hier Sie und Sie. Sie und Sie. Und dann hier Sie und Sie. Fiona. Und dann hier. Okay, maybe you join these two. So you pretend to be two. Can you include her in the group, please? Okay, can you practice together? Problem? Nein! Nein, kein Problem. Das ist fantastisch. Okay, simple dialogue, yeah, but too easy for you. Done already? So quickly, there's never any end. You have to do it all the Okay, so this is basically how our German classes work. If you go to the German class, we will do dialogues, and then we do other stuff in between. So this was a simple dialogue. Like in the first lesson, we could do a simple dialogue like this. In the first lesson, we would also learn the numbers, like the lower numbers and things like this. Okay, so Let's have another look, short look at some cities in Germany, and then I'm done, and I hand over then to Wallace. Okay, let's have a look at some cities here. I want to look at this. Okay, let's read the cities together. Berlin.
Berlin.
Yeah, we see here Berlin. Maybe you recognize is the Brandenburger Tor, the symbol of the German unity, right? So the structure is about 250 years old, but it became well known after reunification in 1989. And here we have München. München is the town hall in München looks like this. It's built in Gothic style, but it's built in the 19th century, right? It's not really Gothic. And then we have here, easy to recognize, Wien. Wien, Wien for Vienna. Everybody recognized because the cathedral has this tower here. And then here, very beautiful, Zurich. Zurich. We have the U there. Of course, English speakers, they always say Zurich. But we say Zurich. Zurich. Okay, fantastic. Now, for the last minutes, let's have a look at food. Essen und trinken. And of course, what everybody identifies with German is Wurst. Wurst. Huh? I hear somebody say Wurst, but we Wurst. 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 Okay, so lots of different kinds of Wurst in Germany. You can eat it cold, you can eat it warm, you can barbecue, you can heat it in water. As you like, there's a lot of variety, and myself, I must say, the German Wurst tastes the best. other Wurst I don't like so much. Okay, this is for Wurst. Wurst. Most Wurst is made of pork, right? But of course we have also Wurst made of beef, right? In other countries, but not in Germany anymore, like in France, you have Wurst made of horse meat also, some kind of salami made of horse, but it's not done in Germany anymore. Okay, the next one. Brot. Brot. I don't want to brag, but German Brot tastes the best. It is more chewy. For Hong Kong people, sometimes you find it too chewy and too hard. You prefer it a little bit softer. We like it harder, more to chew, heavier altogether. Okay, we go to the next one. Käse. Käse for cheese. Of course, for Käse, France is very famous. Germany is not famous for Käse, but of course we have good Käse also, and we import the cheese from the neighboring countries. Austria, especially we have cheese from Austria, from Switzerland, import also from Denmark, and of course also the Spanish cheeses are getting more and more popular. What we see here, the soup. Hong Kong people, they call it the cheese soup. The proper term is fondue. Fondue is a French word, and you have a mix of cheeses which you melt. You melt in a pot, and then you have bread, and you dip the bread in there, and you eat it together with pickles, and you drink lots of wine or beer with it. It's very nice. It's very filling, and you get it here in Hong Kong. They had it for a while in Spaghetti House, but too watery in Spaghetti House. There's an expensive Swiss restaurant, Swiss Chalet, in Hart Avenue in TST. I'm swallowing already. It is for Hong Kong people only to eat this fondue is too boring. You guys, you always want to have more things, right? So when you go there, get one portion of share this, and then have other things to share. Otherwise you will be bored. But it's a very nice food with cheese taste. two kinds to do it. The traditional way, you add also brandy. Cherry brandy, a little bit of cherry brandy. You don't get drunk from it, but it's just a little tingly taste. If you go to Swiss Chalet, to the restaurant, you have the option with or without alcohol, because some people cannot take alcohol, or the other day there was a pregnant lady in the group, she cannot take alcohol, so we just order without alcohol. Also tastes fine. But originally there's cherry brandy in there. Now, we come to the other stuff that everybody knows, of course, beer. Beer. And then Brezel. Brezel is any bread in this particular shape. When you look at the picture here, you see there is something like Chinese cooking salt on the brezel. Big chunks of salt. If you don't like it, if it's too salty for you, just go over with the hand and rub it off. Of course, they put lots of salt because they wanted to drink lots of beer in the beer garden, right? So it's very salty, so never mind, just rub it off. Kein Problem, no problem. Now, to finish, we come to the sweets. Oh, these are not this. Oh no, one is a sweet. So I got confused. Okay, let's read together. Haxe.
Haxe.
Yeah, for the pork knuckle. There are two ways to prepare the pork knuckle. One is the crispy pork knuckle. That is what Hong Kong people like. That is what I also like. But let's say you are in the north of Germany, you must be careful to get the pork knuckle you want. And all of us here in the room, we want the crispy pork knuckle, not the other one. The other one is somehow cooked pork knuckle. Okay, the other one is Schnitzel. Schnitzel is breaded veal. Veal is the meat of a young cow. Breaded veal or pork. Breaded veal, of course, is more expensive. The veal, so it's more expensive. In Vienna, you get the veal, very expensive, but pork also tastes good. And then we have, of course, sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is pickled cabbage. 1 million ways to prepare it. My grandmother from my father's side would have one way, the next auntie has another way, my mother's mother has another way. Nowadays, of course, everybody buys and it tastes very much similar. But in the old days, it would taste different. And the last thing for today, Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte. Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte. Schwarz means black. Schwarzwald is black forest, and Kirschtorte means cherry cream cake. Torte is like cream cake. If you buy it in Hong Kong, there is no alcohol in it. But when you buy the real one in Germany, there is again cherry brandy in there. You don't get drunk from it, but if, let's say, you cannot take it, you don't want to take it, you can also get it without. Okay, das ist alles für heute. That's all for today. Vielen Dank.